This massive election fraud is going to land Joe Biden and a lot of others in jail. At least that's what Lynn Wood, the super lawyer representing President Trump in Georgia over the election fraud, is saying. And if you haven't heard, the head of the FEC, that's the Federal Elections Commission, is also agreeing on this matter. Election fraud was rampant. And he agrees with Sidney Powell, another super lawyer. They are going to expose this. Now, I just want people to stop, breathe, and calm down because everything is going well. Let's dive in now. Welcome back to The Silent War with your host, Dustin Nemos of Nemos News, where we continue with your help to break the dark cycle of fake news and censorship. Here we go.
Everyone knows vitamin C is essential. Researchers found store-bought potatoes lost over half their vitamin C value since 1951. That means you have to eat twice as many potatoes to block damage-causing free radicals and grow and repair tissues in all parts of your body. And what's that going to do for your waist? Another option? Introducing the new liposomal vitamin C from redpillliving.com. It tastes like pure liquid sunshine. Take it by spoon or mix it in a smoothie or yogurt. Then, our breakthrough liposomal technology delivers the powerful serving right where you need it most. Go to redpillliving.com/C and give it a try. It's FDA certified, heavy metal free, Prop 65 compliant, gluten free, and non-GMO. It's redpillliving.com/C. Your waistline will thank you.
So first of all, I want to talk about how California men were just charged with voter fraud after allegedly submitting thousands of applications for homeless people. 41 counts of voter fraud. Now, I want to also add that California is, by the way, back on the menu, okay? President Trump looks to be making moves toward contesting that as well. After all, this is a drain the swamp. It's not just a couple of states, right? In fact, folks, we're going after the same companies that are used in other countries to rig their elections as well, like in Venezuela. We're going to get to that, but we're going to change the whole world with what we are doing, with the stand that we are taking here now in America. Americana is back, baby. Now, John Solomon is also quashing this negative rumor. I think fake news started the rumor that, let's be fair, it was a source leaking to the Federalist and saying that, oh, Durham is stopping his investigation, right? I consider the Federalist to be not much better than Fox News. That's my opinion. There's a lot of journalists, supposedly quote-unquote journalists over there, who were actually being fed information by the Clintons. Remember that and look up that list. It was in the WikiLeaks. Now, I see these reports that Durham is folding up shop and not pursuing any further investigation. This is from John Solomon on Twitter. My reporting conflicts with that. I am seeing extensive investigative efforts underway. I don't get a sense it is over. In fact, I suspect we may see actions soon from the probe. John Solomon is one of the folks that Q has referenced more than most in terms of journalists, just like a Sarah Carter. So definitely worth, remaining optimistic about Durham right now, especially with Q just recently having dropped that Durham word. It was just Durham and a period. That was it on that post. Now also, Sidney Powell is talking about how the Kraken was released recently. Okay, we're just now starting to see the effects. I wonder if Durham and his investigation was part of the Kraken. I don't know. I imagine it's going to be one of the many tentacles. Now, we're also looking at this one. It's a tweet from Rosie's Kraken Grooming. That's a funny Twitter name. At Darnell Sugarfoo. Anyway, remember that DHS statement a couple days ago that claimed our election was totally secure? And then we found out it wasn't actually DHS, but just an advisory committee to DHS. Well, guess who's a member of that committee? Dominion Voting Systems. Not joking. And this is in response to Jeff Carlson saying, one, Dominion is a member of the council that disputed the election integrity concerns in DHS statement. So, they're trying to discourage you, but they don't really. I mean, it's a con game. It's a confidence game. If they can bluff you, they win. It's that simple. But no one trusts them. No one. Look at how people just bailed on Fox News. They're going to have layoffs at this rate. That is the level of trust that they have earned, and that is exactly what they have to now figure out how to overcome, because no one is buying their bullshit anymore. I love that word, bullshit. It's really my 2020 word, folks. Now, Kevin McCullough here at KMC Radio says, I'm now getting reports that California, also a Dominion client, may be in the crosshairs of the Trump legal team. The idea being that this corruption is a cancer everywhere, and it must be surgically removed everywhere. That's a big deal, folks. Maybe California will be red again. Now, we also have Democrats who stole votes for Joe Biden from every developmentally disabled person in Milwaukee homes that this person spoke with. Now, look, they're going after mentally handicapped people. They're going after the sick. They're going after the elderly who have dementia, and they are ballot harvesting them. That's what this is. This is sick. And we also have Dershowitz saying that Biden is not the president-elect. Now, look, I don't agree with Dershowitz all the time. He was on the Epstein flight logs. I don't trust him any more than I trusted Bill Clinton, supposed constitutional expert, right? Well, look, he also said that vaccines could be forced on you by mandate, and they could force a needle in your arm. Remember that? And that is not constitutional. However, quote here is largely about the fact that there has not been any certification, right? This hasn't even gotten to the process yet where we could call a president, not officially. The president-elect doesn't get named as president-elect until at least he has 270 state certification of electors, or his opponents concedes. Neither of that has happened as of now. So we also have Sidney Powell here. I'm sorry, my daughter was like, she's got a tower that she uses to climb up to the counter. It's like a baby tower, really cool toddler thing. And she moves it around on her own, and the thing makes the worst noises. So if you hear some grating noises in the kitchen, that's what that is. Now, she's such a sweetie. She really is. She had something where she put crayon on the wall by accident. I didn't even have to tell her to go get a piece of paper and put water on it and clean up the crayon. She did it on her own. She's such a smart kid. Now, Lynn Wood here again on Twitter. Joe Biden is going to end up in prison. Now, that's the statement that really stands out on this one, but I'll read the full statement. Pay careful attention. Go to Sidney Powell homepage and read her messages. Every lie will be revealed. Communists are involved in trying to steal landslide re-election of our president. Joe Biden is going to end up in prison. Many others too. Swamp will be drained. Wow. And this is in response to Sidney, who's talking about how big tech and Facebook and Google and Twitter are all suppressing our freedom of speech to challenge this outrageous election fraud. Wonder who all the... And she's doing the little at symbol instead of the A like I do, because, of course, they're probably using fraud as a keyword to try to censor people, that kind of thing, right? That's clever. She says, wonder who all funding the communist efforts for Biden. Read the sworn testimony yourself. See below. And they're talking about Smartmatic. Now, Smartmatic is just like Dominion. Smartmatic is another one of these companies involved in election fraud, rigging throughout multiple countries. They were key and admitted to being involved in, later apologized for it, to Venezuela's election fraud as well. Now, I wanted to briefly mention that there is a Stop the Steal Atlanta, Georgia protest going on every day at 12 noon. Saturday's the big one. At the Georgia State Capitol, 206 Washington Street in Atlanta. Definitely make it out if you can. We also have the Georgia recount auditors, which I've talked about this. It was a rigged recount. Project Veritas has got it, where another, bombshell, basically, where they tried to rig an election and then they tried to rig a recount. They had one person to every 10 counting tables. They had the tape further back than 6 feet. But really, at the end of the day, the worst part so far that has come out is this quote. The second person was supposed to be checking it right 3 times in 3 minutes. She called out Biden when it was really a Trump one. So check this video out.
Project Veritas has insiders in the Georgia recount that are catching votes wrongly attributed to Biden. Check this out.
So the second person was supposed to be checking it right. So 3 times in 3 minutes she called out Biden. The second auditor caught it, and she said, no, this is Trump.
And it's not mandatory.
Now, that's just while I'm standing there. So does the second checker catch it every time? But this lady, in 3 times in 3 minutes, from 209 to 212, she got 3 wrong.
That's just in the short time that you were
That I was standing there. And does it get corrected every time? Because the next table I went to right after that, the only reason I left that table is because there was one where the first person was reading it off, handing it to her. She's not even looking at it, she's just putting it in.
Putting it in which set?
Whatever one the first person said. So table 17 was the first one where the woman got it wrong 3 times. Table 18 was where the first person would call out Biden or Trump. She passed it across the table. The other person did not even look at it and just put it wherever the first person said. That person was supposed to be auditing it, checking the second one. Gotcha. And so here's what happened after that. So I go and report it. They say, oh, we'll talk to the election officials, blah, 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 blah. They tell her, hey, I guess they talked to her. And so I come back by again in a few minutes. She's not doing it after they've talked to her. So I come and stand next to her, and she goes like this. Like being all cutesy about it, being exactly.
Being snarky.
Yeah, so I keep walking, I turn around, I look, and she's looking at me walking away as she's getting handed more ballots. So she's watching me. That's when things start getting real shady, like really like tense and cop. Because no matter where I was standing in the room, her and a couple other people started, they were calling their boss over there, pointing at me. I haven't touched anybody, I haven't talked to anybody, haven't done anything. All I'm doing is writing down, observing, telling what happened. So I see they're all talking to her, and they keep like pointing over here. Well, I make another slow lap around the room. As I come back behind her, she says, I'm paid by the taxpayer, and these assholes want to come in here and watch me.
3 times in 3 minutes is what is the significance of that to you?
If the other people aren't second checking it correctly, then stuff could be sliding through.
Is that actually what you saw?
Yeah, I'm not making this up. That's what I saw.
So, of course, and the shadiness and the paranoia, clearly, the guilty impression that he got from this person. There's a lot of fire. There's a lot of smoke here, so presumably there's some fire, and this needs to be also investigated. Now, continuing on from there as well, Sidney Powell drops another bomb on the Mark Levin show. We have witnesses who was at the creation of witness who was at the creation of Smartmatic system and used to change election results. Check this out.
Sidney Powell, how are you?
I'm in a tsunami of information coming in from patriotic Americans who are fed up with the corruption all over, including with our own CIA and FBI and DHS.
All right. I want to focus, though. I want to focus, though, on the Dominion voting machines. Where now we're having people say, experts say that the Dominion voting machines, there's no fraud. And I played a piece at the top of the hour with PBS, October 26th, where they did 7 minutes of how this system can be penetrated, but even more than that, how the system is imperfect, and they slap something on the end of September to try and improve it. Why are the media ignoring the Dominion voting machines or the system?
Because it's going to blow up the whole election. It's going to blow up local elections. It's going to blow up congressional elections for some people because they can pick and choose who they want to win. I've got a first-hand witness now. In fact, I just emailed you an affidavit from a witness that can now be used publicly. It's redacted in some places, but he was present for the creation of the system for the specific purpose of falsifying election results for Hugo Chavez and then Maduro. They exported it all over Latin America. It's the Smartmatic and Dominion system specifically built for doing this very thing, for changing the results of elections. He saw it done. He knows exactly how they do it. He explained how they do it. He's seen it work, and he realized when things were happening the way they were here, particularly when the states that suddenly went down, they stopped counting the votes, that it's because the lead was so great for President Trump that they had to go in and do a separate reset on the machines to make it come out for Biden.
You hear that? She's got somebody who was there at the creation of this rigged scam system that was built with the purpose of rigging elections, and it's been used to rig elections in the past as well. Smartmatic Director even admitted in 2017 that their system was able to create at least 1 million phantom votes in that year's Venezuela election. Yeah, it's really happening, folks. Check this out.
Smartmatic has provided election technology and support services in Venezuela since 2004. Even in moments of deep political conflict and division, we have been satisfied that the voting process and the count has been completely accurate. It is therefore with the deepest regret that we have to report that the turnout numbers on Sunday, 30th of July, for the Constituent Assembly in Venezuela were tampered with. So what happened? Why can we stand by the results of previous Venezuelan elections, but we cannot endorse the elections held last Sunday? Our automated election system is designed to make it evident when results are manipulated. However, there must be people auditing the system and watching for that evidence. During the National Constituent Assembly elections, there were no auditors from the opposition parties, as they did not want to participate. An audit would allow everyone to know the exact participation. We estimate the difference between the actual participation and the one announced by the authorities is at least 1 million votes. It is important to point out that this would not have occurred if the auditors of all political parties had been present at every stage of the election.
Now, next up, I want to show you a clip of Zuckerberg himself running the rhetoric very hard. He's speaking with, a forked tongue from both sides of his mouth, weasel words, whatever you want to call it. But he's pushing that rhetoric, and he's basically admitting to election interference. Check this out.
We worked with local election officials to remove false claims about polling conditions that might lead to voter suppression. We partnered with Reuters and the National Election Pool to provide reliable information about results. We attached voting information to posts by candidates on both sides and additional contexts to posts trying to delegitimize the outcome. We locked down new political ads in the week before the election to prevent misleading claims from spreading when they couldn't be rebutted. We strengthened our enforcement against militias and conspiracy networks like QAnon to prevent them from using our platforms to organize violence or civil unrest. Altogether, I believe this was the largest election integrity effort by any private company in recent times. This is what people expect of us. And I'm glad that from what we've seen so far, our systems performed well.
Oh yeah, here it is. And look at that weird costume. You know what? I take it back. I want one. That's a cool costume. But other than that, I don't know about the symbolism. I don't know about the branding and everything else. But this is actually a picture from the Forum of Young Global Leaders. And do you notice any familiar faces on there? Like Dan Crenshaw, Tulsi Gabbard, Soros' son, Alexander Soros, Zuckerberg, David de Rothschild, Megan Rapinoe, the really jerk lesbian soccer star that shunned President Trump. Got a lot of media publicity for it. Was very rude to President Trump. Very immature, in fact. That's the one with the pink hair, of course. Maria Bartiromo. That's an interesting name. Supposedly a pro-Trump conservative, right? There's Peter Buttigieg. No shocker there, weirdo. And Emmanuel Macron, of course. Pedophile victim himself with his wife, who's much older and got him when he was really young, you know what I mean? And then maybe they were in Boy Scouts together, who knows? And, there's just a lot of people out there that we thought were one thing and they turned out to be something completely different. We already knew a lot of these names were globalist, sellouts or even just monsters, some of them. Zuckerberg and Alexander Soros and David de Rothschild as prime examples. But Daniel Crenshaw shocked me. Maria Bartiromo surprised me. Continuing on. Now, Senate Republicans will continue the Hunter Biden probe, no matter what happens with this election. That includes if Biden wins. Be ready for anything, because this is going to go to a dark place and it's going to be exposed. And the Biden family many of them will probably go to prison. They've sold us out to China. They've sold us out to other nations. They've sold us out to Soros. They've sold us out to the radical communist left. Bitcoin surging above $17,000. That's a very interesting time. There's been a lot of volatility lately, and there's been a lot of money printing lately, and there's been a lot of economic, well, craziness going on. But they're saying that the mainstream adoption is rising. What is interesting is that some banks are willing to pay twice the spot price to buy Bitcoin. That is a very interesting sign. So it is getting to the point where large players are entering the game. Now, I don't invest in Bitcoin myself because I don't have the money and it's too volatile for me. I would be more of like a gold or silver guy, maybe a silver guy, because that's kind of my, they say that gold is the money of kings and silver is the money of gentlemen, and paper is the money of serfs, but debt is the money of slaves, and that's where they want us all. Now, UK citizens could be banned from going into work without proof of COVID vaccination. This is coming. This is from a supposedly conservative MP in the UK saying that he does expect that it could happen. Now, I also want to mention that the Philadelphia is reporting another 8,000 newly counted ballots. This today, 2 weeks after Election Day, and 85% were Joe Biden. They're still going to try. I mean, President Trump won by such a margin, it took 2 weeks for him to get enough ballots to beat him, basically. That's where we're, it's a joke, but I mean, they're still going with it. I don't even understand how these people are not in prison yet, but it's coming. It's coming. A lot of people are going to be in prison. A lot of people, maybe tens of thousands, will be arrested for this because of all of the small election fraud as well, but certainly thousands. And it's too big to keep a secret. They'll never succeed. It's already coming out. Like I said, we have people behind the creation of Smartmatic, or who were present at the creation of Smartmatic, who can show us everything. Now, Michigan House is actually looking to, or some of the members are looking to impeach Gretchen Whitmer. This is a great sign. I highly encourage throwing any support you can by that. Behind that. Now, also on Twitter, Rosie Memos here, Almost Jingo, says, why are all the Dominion people deleting their profiles on LinkedIn? And looks like all of their software engineers are in Serbia, which is kind of a Russian country. I don't think they're part of Russia now, but it was a Russian country before. They broke into many pieces after the Soviet Union. And this is just a partial list because, Anons were actually out there looking for this, and they saved many of them before they deleted it all, but there were so many hundreds of employees they didn't get them all. You can't see anything here unless I zoomed in, of course, but there we go. It's not big even now, but they have started to delete and turn them private. Okay, 243 employees down to 140 employees just a short time later. So continuing, I also want to mention, let's see, I got to get out of this. Okay. Here is Sidney Powell again. Definitely, on Lou Dobbs, definitely worth a listen.
Oh, definitely, Lou. I've just gotten some stunning evidence from a first-hand witness, a high-ranking military officer who was present when Smartmatic was designed in a way that and I'm going to just read you some of these statements, if you don't mind, so I get them exactly right from the affidavit. Designed in a way that the system could change the vote of each voter without being detected. He wanted the software itself to function in such a manner that if the voter were to place their thumbprint or fingerprint on a scanner, then the thumbprint would be tied to a record of the voter's name and identity as having voted, but that voter would not be tracked to the changed vote. He made it clear that the system would have to be set up but not leave any evidence of the changed vote for a specific voter, and that there would be no evidence to show and nothing to contradict that the name or the fingerprint or thumbprint was going with a changed vote. Smartmatic agreed to create such a system and produce the software and hardware that accomplished the result for President Chavez. After the Smartmatic electoral management system was put in place, he closely observed several elections where the results were manipulated using the Smartmatic software. One such election was December 2006 when Chavez was running against Rosales. Chavez won with a landslide over Rosales, a margin of nearly 6 million votes for Chavez versus 3.7 million for Rosales. In 2013, he witnessed another Venezuelan national election where the Smartmatic management system was used to manipulate and change the results for Chavez. Control room where multiple digital display screens were shown for results and voting. The actual voting results were fed into that room and onto the displays over an internet feed, which was connected to a sophisticated computer system created by Smartmatic. People in that room were able to see in real time whether the vote that came through the electronic voting system was in their favor or against them. If one looked at any particular screen, they could determine that the vote from any specific area or as a national total was going to be against either candidate. Persons controlling the vote tabulation computer had the ability to change the reporting of votes by moving votes from one candidate to another by using the Smartmatic software.
You know, I'm just going to comment that she's got them. She's got them nailed, okay? But there's probably a lot of military, ex-military contractor types, you know, people mercenary-minded, maybe a little bit more than you or I, who are probably okay with rigging a foreign country's election, or probably okay with some regime change. A lot of that's official U.S. policy, foreign policy in some cases, okay? So a lot of people in our government think that's just okay. But if you start trying to do that here at home, in the homeland, America, many of those people who are still patriotic Americans deep down will stand up. So there's a lot of people who are part of the deep state who still love this country. And I don't know if this is the case, but we have eyes everywhere, and that's why we keep having things like this where we're getting whistleblowers coming out. Now, probably not the highest levels of the deep state, granted, probably some lower level people, but such a large and powerful organization as the deep state will have to have some lower level people to help run things. And that's where their weaknesses are. They will always need the people, and that's why they're so desperate for AI. They're so desperate for systems so that they can control us with their systems from their computer room. Frickin' nerds. It's coming from me, that says something, because I'm kind of nerdy. Whatever. Shelton nomination to Fed blocked by Senate. Now, this is a big deal. It's a temporary deal, but it is a big deal because who Judy Shelton is. Remember, she is a gold standard, gold bug. She's actually pro-crypto in some ways, but she's a person who backs the gold standard. Now, that is, of course, completely the opposite of the print everything and inflate it away and make the people pay the price method that we're currently going with. So she's more of an Austrian economist, which we desperately need. But I think this is part of us changing back over to a gold standard. President Trump has been trying to get Judy Shelton nominated for quite some time. But here's the thing. McConnell did switch his vote from yes to no, but that is not because he's betraying us. It's because of technicalities and rules. This will allow him to have another vote later. We had people that were not there because they were self-quarantined after being supposedly sick with COVID, although you can't trust the tests at all. They are controllable. So, we had a 47-50 vote, even though we were missing a couple of people. So later we will try this again. I just want to mention, though, Lindsey Graham, the traitor that he is, here he is fist bumping Kamala Harris afterwards. Thanks, traitor. I hope you go to prison. Now, continuing from there as well, we have in Michigan explosive evidence that the Trump to Biden vote switching totaled 138,000 votes. This is the precinct level data in 4 counties. Okay, Oakland County is one of the counties, and it is where one reversed supposed glitch actually has already led to a GOP winner. So we are seeing massive impact both in the election fraud and in the reversal of the election fraud. So the last week has been the left's victory cheer. Get ready for yours, as everything they just did is pried out of their greedy little hands. Folks, I hope you found this to be of some value. I hope it's worth sharing. If you can still share, I might even do a little video for those who are having difficulty sharing on a couple of tricks that you can still use to share things like my videos, even though they are blocking it on Facebook and other places. There are some ways around that, so I'll do a separate video and put that out soon. I've gotten a lot of comments about that, but thank you for trying to share. Thank you who are sharing. Thank you who are donating and supporting us or shopping Patriot with our sponsors. at nemosnewsnetwork.com/sponsors, because if you can imagine, there's a little bit of a war on independent media and truth tellers right now, and it's heating up. So thank you for making this work possible. It is you guys that fuel this fight. I'm just a flashlight. You're the batteries. Thank you again, and we will see you on the next one. Dustin Nemos, out.